Today, Bitcoin closes out its best month since July. Another crypto mining company is running out of money. And it's been 1 year since Facebook rebranded to take on the metaverse. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Kate Rooney. Digital currencies are lower to start the week, but still on pace for their best month since July. By noon Eastern, Bitcoin held above $20,000 and Ether traded around $1,500. Dogecoin, meanwhile, was the bright spot in the crypto market today. It rose to 13 cents. In the past month, Bitcoin's gained about 5%, while Ether has gained closer to 17%. Both cryptocurrencies have been surprisingly stable, even as stocks, especially tech stocks, have fallen sharply amid global economic concerns and weak earnings. Analysts are keeping an eye on the Fed, which is meeting this week, and could give some hints about the speed and size of future rate hikes. Okay, let's talk about the top stories. First up, another crypto miner is struggling to bring in cash. On Monday morning, London-based Argo Blockchain disclosed that a deal to bring in $27 million had fallen through and that it was now looking for, quote, other financing opportunities to make up the cost. The company warned that if it couldn't find the cash, it may have to cut operations or shut down altogether. It's a lot like Core Scientific's disclosure last week. That Bitcoin miner told investors that it was looking for new ways to bring in investments, and if those efforts failed, the company could have to file for bankruptcy. As a result of that announcement, Core Scientific's stock fell more than 75% in a single day. Rising energy costs, surging mining difficulty, and weak Bitcoin prices have hit miners around the globe. Next, struggling crypto lender Hodl might have downplayed just how much money it lost from Terra. Bloomberg reports that a judicial manager in Singapore found the company lost $190 million in the collapse of the algorithmic stablecoin and accompanying token. But Bloomberg now says the judicial manager found the company, quote, downplayed its exposure to that project. Hodl filed for creditor protection after halting withdrawals back in August, and the company reportedly deleted thousands of documents, some of which are considered key to the business as it moves through that protection process. Last up, it's been 1 year since Facebook changed its name to Meta to bet big on the metaverse, but things haven't quite worked out so far. Investors are concerned with the project's rampant spending and lack of progress. Reality Labs, the company's VR and metaverse division, burned nearly $9.5 billion this year as it tries to build the company's vision for the virtual world. In the latest round of earnings last week, Meta reported Reality Labs' revenue fell by half from a year earlier, and things aren't looking much better for next year. Meta warned it expects Reality Labs' losses to grow in 2023 significantly. All right, for our main story, let's talk a little bit more about crypto prices. With volatility fading from the markets and investors closely watching the Fed, Crypto World's Jordan Smith spoke to Calanthia May of Masa Finance to find out what could drive the next bull run.
All right, so we're wrapping up the month of October, which has been particularly strong for Bitcoin and Ether. It's been the best month since July, and markets have been especially stable for crypto. Can you talk a little bit about what's leading this sort of pivot to more stable crypto markets?
So last week, Bank of Canada and European Central Bank started indication that they might slow down the tightening of monetary policy by the end of this year. And as you mentioned, last week, we started to see signs of life in crypto, with Bitcoin surpassing 20K and ETH reaching its highest since the merge. We have a very busy economic calendar coming up in the next 2 weeks with jobs and inflation data, as well as comments after the Wednesday Fed meeting. Personally, I still believe that this week, the Fed will maintain the 75 basis point rate hike. However, I suspect they will stay relatively cagey about what shall happen in December because there are 2 more CPI reports coming out between now and the December Fed meeting. If, let's say, the rate hike were to slow down in December, of course, that will lead to a crypto rally along with the rest of the market. However, in our view, it would take much more to start the next bull cycle in crypto.
I want to ask about that because I'm curious how fragile this sort of pivot to stability that we've seen in crypto markets really is. I mean, as you mentioned, we have the FOMC meeting this week. We also have the inflation data next week. We have midterms. How likely is it that, if these don't live up to the expectations that the market has set, that we could see another turn to volatility again?
Yeah, to be honest, I think the rate hike at this point is priced in. That's the reason why we see a tactical correction in the market when it comes to crypto instead of surging, surpassing, let's say, 25K for Bitcoin. So I think at this point, whatever happens on Wednesday would not surprise the market significantly. What's more important, of course, is December and leading into 2023, getting any indication from the Fed when it comes to how high the rate could go next year will be really crucial.
I also want to ask you about earnings season. I mean, we have Coinbase and Robinhood on deck this week, and we've seen some other publicly traded companies that deal in crypto struggling. I think of Core Scientific, and they're warning that they could face bankruptcy protection if they can't get their cash reserves under control. Are earnings a particular concern for the crypto market? I mean, if we keep seeing these sort of pressures on crypto businesses, would that have a negative effect on prices?
Yeah, again, I think at this point it is relatively expected when it comes to the downward pressure on earnings for both crypto company and just the broader tech sector at large. The sentiment, again, I believe is already priced in.
So let's talk about long term here. There are analysts who say that 20K could be the bottom for Bitcoin. If that is the case and 20K is the bottom, what sort of things are you watching for to spur the next bull run?
So in my view, the next bull run in crypto requires a catalyst, and that catalyst requires crypto to be able to deliver real world utility. The market is looking for a use case that could benefit and even onboard the next billion users into crypto. And in my view, leveraging the efficiency of decentralized finance in real world asset in traditional finance is one of the most compelling use cases. If you recall, in December last year, when DeFi peaked, the total value lock was around $180 billion. However, it is still a tiny fraction compared to, let's say, the global fixed income market, which is around $127 trillion. DeFi, in my mind, can bring a lot of benefits to traditional finance, especially in lending. DeFi lending is a new and internet native way to distribute capital and risk efficiently and globally. Let's say anyone, retail or institutional, will be able to contribute liquidity and generate yield from DeFi lending, and vice versa. No matter whether you're credit invisible or credit visible in the traditional financial system, you should be able to apply for a loan in the DeFi world. That is bringing liquidity to a global way, and that is building the new internet native global debt financial market. It also optimizes costs. It significantly reduces operational risks, marginal and labor costs when it comes to using smart contract to automating a lot of middle and back office work.
So you mentioned traditional finance and how it can benefit from DeFi. We've seen a huge rate of adoption from Wall Street firms in particular. That's something that we covered on Crypto World just last week. What's it going to take to speed up that rate of adoption of traditional finance into DeFi, into some of the other crypto projects that are happening right now that they seem to be interested in, but maybe are waiting on the sidelines right now?
What I painted about decentralized finance and using the underlying mechanism of decentralized finance in real world asset sounds pretty ideal, especially for a finance and fintech nerd for myself. However, we are a long way from there. There are a lot of picks and shuffles, the fundamental infrastructure pieces that are currently missing in order for us to get there. Identity being one of the most crucial missing pieces in Web3 right now. If you think about it, crypto is pseudonymous. That requires a complete rethink when it comes to how you assess the risk associated with an individual or with an identity. At the company I co-founded, Masa Finance, we're trying to help individuals establish their on-chain identity. Masa wants to be your digital passport, and that is going to transform the decentralized finance world or even Web3 at large, because for the first time, you'll be able to do risk-based underwriting in crypto, and that can help deliver real-world utility, leveraging real-world assets and benefit the next billion users. Real innovation requires patience and require time. A lot of things I discuss is essentially building the global financial market in a new and internet native way that may lead to the long-term increase in crypto price. In the short term, let's be patient and continue to inspire innovation.
Before we go, Binance CEO Changpeng Zhao joined Squawk Box this morning to discuss the future of Twitter after the company pledged $500 million to Elon Musk's takeover. Here's what he said.
We want to support strong entrepreneurs. Elon Musk is a very strong entrepreneur. Twitter is a tool that I use personally very heavily. So, and we want to make sure that crypto has a seat at the table for when it comes to free speech. So, and there are more tactical things like we want to help bring Twitter into Web3 when they're ready. And yeah, we want to help solve those immediate problems.
All right, that's it for Crypto World today, but we'll be back again tomorrow with a lot more. We'll see you then.